into Haven for GenG. The opportunity to take part in Masters with the top teams in North American Valorant, it looms large. For NRG, they dig the claws in to try and stay alive. We got some decent frenzy action from EU and Shanks here, and we'll see what kind of spread GenG apply on the defense now. Let's see if NRG can bring that fire.
GenG on the defense, playing a little bit more passively on all of the sites with the exception of sewers control. So with that camera that potentially is shot early, they're leaving and surrendering long A, where it's okay. You hold out sewers, you rotate in the end, but NRG, they have different plans.
Immediately straight, this is a C split. And remember, in the absence of Raze, there's no paint shell threat. You can barrel in a round like this through Garage to try and take control of the side. Kusta wants to try and advance himself as far as he can, but NRG have already overwhelmed. They scale right into the back of the C side and choke GenG's options out.
That cage was quite interesting from Kusta. I'm wondering if he placed those to actually avoid any type of recon darts that would come out. But still, he was out in the open in a do-or-die position, and NRG definitely capitalized on that rush on C site.
Twin has about 72,000 corners to check between here and Bomb, and only has time for about 7 of them. Here we go. Double cloudburst. Really, most of the work has already been done here.
Oh my god!
That's a bit rude. It's a 2v2, but time is extremely low. Curveball around the corner. That one does connect on Shanks. He sheepishly tries to hide behind a container. Sean finds him. 2v1.
No time.
Unbelievable. Sean with 3. Quinn with 2, but they can't get the defuse. You normally don't get too excited for a pistol round, but they don't normally get that close.
When you have 77,000 corners to check, might as well just smoke in there and just spray. And hopefully get a couple of kills, and it worked
really
out.
The principle we're going to live by here?
I guess so. This is how this matchup is going to go down. I mean, we've seen it already on Ascent. We talked about how they had to play on reflexes, sorry. As soon as the smokes went down, flick shots, try to get those kills. And somehow, when getting that first kill, going head-to-head against the second one, that second player ran out of bullets as they were actually spraying through the smokes. But thankfully, that was good enough for NRG to run down that clock, get the run in their favor, just thanks to time.
Daps can just peek out of his own cyber cage here. Gimon's trying to flank around. Yet another cyber cage, though, kind of makes that a little bit harder. The rest of GenG are converging, but Daps has already struck a pretty mortal blow here, and the rest of NRG now consider C.
So many options. I mean, you had somebody lurk up towards B at A link. You have somebody going up towards B at C link. You have one gun out going towards C spawn or C long because they left the spike at spawn. It's going to be an easy plan. The camera's still up, so they could take the 2 guns that were surrendered at the Cubby side and still try to play the retake.
NRG pushed so deep into the map that they really never stopped holding that W key, so a little bit harder maybe to predict some of these post-plant positions if you're GenG. We're walking into Som here, who's about to let the paranoia go, but instead opt to give it some space. He wants to bleed the clock as much as possible. Hot hands as well. Yeah, they aren't going anywhere. The floor is literally lava, and Som is going to walk over it and get himself a nice little couple. And that's another clean one from NRG after a bit of a messy start. They're over on the A-long side.
And Guimond, you saw it. Yes, he was backstabbing. He was placing that smoke towards that C-link because they knew exactly where the hot hands came from. That was an opportunity for them to just go for the double wide swing right after against, I think it was Android, right? No, sorry. There was a second player there that was holding towards that spawn side. But it didn't pay off because the hot hands literally split that type of push that they want to get. Kusta went for the individualistic aggressive peak, which cost them that round, unfortunately, for GenG on that retake after.
Early presence here. It's not really set up by a flash, though. Just going to make sure that KL can get himself a decent recon bolt. Straight into B, though. Look at this. NRG not wasting any time. Bringing a little bit more urgency than maybe we saw at times on Ascent, and it pays off. They get a comfy little post plant before the dark covers even dissipate.
Yeah, you like those, especially now in a round where you're leading 2-0, you're on a bonus, you know it's going to be a rifle round. You just want to push him towards you, and it works. Oh my.
I mean, this is Mikael gets completely run down here. This is the buy.
Oh!
Kusta piles the bodies up, but there's still a spike that needs to be dealt with. NRG down by 2 players, and these precious seconds are all dwindling. Yvonne gets on the spike. No. Sean gets rid of Android, and somehow against the odds, there's got to be Dap to try and do something about this, but Sean says no. And NRG, they are punished. Their foolishness to try and face Kusta down shreds 3 players in an instant.
So who do we talk about at the pregame to try to make a difference? Sean came in, It was a good start. Wasn't a real solution. Kusta came in. It was shaky at first. Looked pretty good.
He took 20 damage.
Exactly. Who are the two players that actually won that round there for GenG? Those are the two. Sean and Win getting all those kills, protecting the spike diffuser on top of that, and making things, shattering the dreams of the aggressive push from NRG that could have won a bonus at that point. Things like
Did NRG get ahead of themselves? Couldn't they just play a more passive post plant?
I mean, at that point, you're trying to play... I mean, they did. You had Android towards B main. You had a couple of guys trying to look back towards the flank coming in from A side, right? So they did play
Goose squad
passive.
just got clapped.
They didn't pay attention to Kusta. That's the only thing.
Jeez, individual prowess at the fore, and Android. Okay, pin the knife on the Phoenix. Works pretty well. Silverware is still out there, though, and Winner's more than happy to receive more visitors through B. A is no one. A has been completely left for a retake here. So GenG are happy with this. They actually, the stacked site yields them a kill, and now they can play retake here with run it back, no less.
Yeah, this is one of the interesting ones here for NRG. I mean, Kusa is one of those ciphers that plays more towards C side instead of A. I mean, Dabs does it from time to time too when he switches things around and he wants to play the A side. But look at the trap wire positioning. I like that. That cancels out the double stack plant. We'll have to pay attention to that in a few rounds.
Dabs struggling. Sean with the run it back. Doesn't get too much information. Mostly he's flashed up. Win goes careening over the top of the side with the help of Kusa. They get rid of Som. EU, though, trying to stand his ground, but it's a 1v3. Oh, the spray down. Not quite as fortuitous as it was for Kusa. And a defuse for GenG. 2 rounds in a row. And the NRG are running the risk of having the same thing happen to them as in last map, where GenG, they get their claws into you when they're defending, and they never let go.
Yeah, and your utility was good on the retake too. I think Sean threw the hot hands above the A-Link just to land a graffiti, combined with a paranoia, which actually burnt down players or the player that was holding towards that graffiti side, and just allowed for the rest of GenG just to push in and use their fraggers to frag. I just like seeing this matchup right now. We mentioned before in the first map it was pretty even until we got into that second half. But so far in this first half, it's been back and forth and very much more even than Ascent.
Oh no, that's pretty dirty. A lot of damage there on the Shanks earlier. Swin just sits inside the comfort of his cloudburst and sees the revealed player. Gale, shoulder peeking. Okay, actually goes for the the shock dart that doesn't do much except dissuade any further aggression for NRG for now, but they look pretty set on this A hit.
Yeah.
Oh, come on!
He's here to play.
Here.
There's nothing playful about this. This man has got the killer instinct. 1 bullet left in the gun. Win still faces the angle down, by the way. Okay. NRG down to 3 players, and with frenzies and a little bit of hope in their hearts, that's all they're going to have to work with. They likely hold on to these ultimates. They just haven't got the start in this round that we're hoping for.
Yeah. The play style for NRG on the attack here of Haven versus somebody like FaZe. FaZe runs a default where they're taking slow map control on every opposite side or every position on the map on the attack. For NRG is you always have or often very much have these splits. If it's a set play, it's like, okay, we're focusing on A, we'll end up on A. There's not that many rotations going in there for NRG's execution to try to pull off rotations. It's just straight into your face aggression and try to execute there. But GenG's doing the same thing. Aggress back, fight back, and surprise them.
I'm glad you didn't use the term re-aggression. That one gets me every time. Sean, though, Android and Som just walk into a hail of bullets, and that's the flawless to come up here from GenG. So further solidifying their economic position. NRG, okay, now here's where you have to go right. So what side do we feel like is least well held? Because they walked into a stacked B side earlier on. In the past, A's been left open for retake. This time it gets stacked. So it's actually the defensive variation from GenG that seems to be frustrating NRG right now.
Yeah, now I have a feeling that you're going to try towards that C side, especially with Android's... Okay, never mind. I was going to say with Android's run it back. If he does it from the cubby running all the way up towards long C, because they were able to get position towards C side for quite a few rounds, but this time they're just going to try to go all out, way more aggressive towards the A side.
We can hear this. He knows they're coming for him. Thunderous footsteps. They're still able to find the 1 kill here. Shanks does not want to be staved off this side again. He will not be denied once more. NRG have some fancy abilities they'd love to bring to bear on this site, but Som wants to do it the old-fashioned way instead. Spray through the dark cover, and here is the plant. Immo holding from heaven.
Spike planted.
Hasn't actually spotted anyone just yet.
Heard the reload at least, so he knows one's at default, and it's going to be a fake shadow step out. So NRG, because they're in great position.
Som, another dark cover to hell. It's going to protect this Sova, ideally. Hit with the curveball, but the wall protects him. Swing from E was good, but Kusta's there. Okay. Kusta just before he got the information. How odd. Going for a neural theft in such a tight situation. He was hoping for, I guess, to be left alone for a couple seconds to process whatever information he was looking for.
Secure the round, secure the round. That's all you want at this point because it's so back and forth, right? And for him to be able to get a neural theft already in 6 rounds of play, you'll get it at least one more time towards the end of the half. So use your abilities, use your ultimates. NRG at this point, all 5 of them are ready. This is going to be highly explosive now. I've talked about like explosions for NRG, and I haven't quite yet seen it yet because Win is able to catch him off guard. He's canceled out a couple of these key round ultimates that prevents NRG from getting that successful plant without losing that many players in the process.
Oh, this intuition from Win.
That's what I'm saying.
It's almost like ESP.
Definitely, and that's what I'm saying. That's already a running back down, right? So he gets a kill, dashes back, head support into the window just in case, and now they could just play numbers. And this is the same type of style as NRG does. Having one player inside a Cypher, stack up 4 players towards the site, get ready to play retake.
So once more, NRG
he's playing Steel style.
Oh my.
He's playing Steel style because look at that. He has a trap wire down towards Hell. If they actually try to take Hell control on the A side, that's why he's not turning up the camera. He's like, oh, we have an open side towards A. If they take control there, he's going to get pinged. He's going to get wallbanged through the Heaven side.
Okay, Kusti, yeah. I mean, if we weren't aware of what you were trying to accomplish, now we are. No one from NRG has actually opted to post up in Hell at all. Maybe eventually they do that. Camera? Okay, there was a camera from Kusta that does spot out a bit of information. Doesn't
Here it comes.
Reveal anyone in the long term. Okay, there's someone there. The spray.
Oh, it was too late.
Didn't quite catch it. Huinna's going to try and make something happen. He gets hit with a recon bolt, though, and it's all gone wrong for GENG. Sometimes the best laid plans go to waste, and this might be one of those opportunities now for NRG to get back in. Interrupt the flow of this game just a little bit. The blaze wall comes down.
What?
So does the house. Somehow, Gimon almost saves that, but it's up to Shanks to come up with the goods with 36 HP left.
As chaotic as that looked for GENG trying to regain that site because they were counting so much on that trapwire spray from Kusta and the death from Huyn dropping down, somehow they still managed to pull 4 kills to make things more expensive for NRG to move into this round. And you saw those trapwires. Not only the first one goes down towards Hell, but the second one is also placed on those boxes at the A side. And I was reading the Reddit comments. It's like, oh, they read perfectly into the jet.
I'll stop you there. I'll stop you there.
Right. I know. They're like, oh, we read it perfectly. It's for the jet dashing into the site. No, it's just for anybody trying to plant into that spot, as it's a common spot to plant for the attacker side, which allows then a spray from a one-way cyber cage to get those kills.
Okay, Cyber Cage is thrown up there. Android not able to penetrate those at all. NRG have an embarrassment of riches in terms of ultimates. And to make a play through mid, they catch Huyn. Okay, and you can see, look at this now. The drift back across the map. GENG tried for a very aggressive play early on in the round, but it backfires somewhat. And NRG really have plenty to work with here. A neural theft at just the right moment can crack GENG right open here.
Yeah, but the
corpse over towards A lobby, so it's a safe pick.
They think it's a safe pick, but look at the positioning from GENG.
Okay. Booster moves up, looking for another one. Shanks is able to catch him here, but Sean,
he's dead.
This is dangerous for Sean. He might die twice. Yep. Yikes. Now the 3v2. NRG once again. Numbers advantage favoring them. And of course, for the post-plant, Hunter's Fury is online. Mikhail has one too, but has no information. Doesn't really want to waste it, give away his position. Especially in a player disadvantage.
Does he not have a dart or something?
Perhaps gives himself away. This is perfect for Mikhail, but only 5 bullets left. Is it enough? No.
I know exactly.
Oh no.
There it is. That's the neural theft we were waiting for. Just a little bit of information to secure the round. Now Gimon is... Well, he's got no other option but try and go for a tickle here. Play around the edge of the dark cover.
Oh,
there is one. Needs another. 8 bullets left.
Oh!
No, not quite. He'll be revealed once more, and EU realizes, okay, well, I either get this or we win the round anyway. NRG, 5 rounds on the attack. This is... They're putting some pressure on GENG now, and they're stretching them rather thin.
And EU just survived by the skin of his teeth when the spike was actually exploding at that point, but Definitely, like you were trying to waste down that time for Mikael on that hell side, on that spawn side, rather, to try to retake that A spot, just to try to get some information by body peeking. Because he didn't have enough time with the recon dart, right? It was still on cooldown for 5 seconds. He had to go for, okay, where are they coming from? Just so that GMD could get that flank in from long. But it was just unfortunately too late in terms of timing.
I've seen this Steelers furious about Kusta using his hell trips in the Odin in heaven. That's how we learn. That's how we adapt.
Yep.
Some osmosis there at work for Kusta.
He said the same thing when he was watching other games and was like, yo, they're using my Killjoy positioning for my mollies.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, I think you'll find. Now, Daps, yeah, he's still, like the rest of NRG, still very wary about some sort of weird pop aggression from Garage. And, oh, it does get delivered. Daps is able to get away alive there despite the Sheriff being trained on him. And Quinn tries to chase him down with a shorty, gets one. There will be a plan here eventually as NRG able to get a quiet moment on the site, or not. Either way, that'll be another one in the bag for them. That's 6-3.
Yeah, in terms of trying to get a little bit of kills for this eco that they had for GENG, you saw from the way that they died, they were a little bit too spread out there across that map. Weren't really in positions to go for back-to-back spacing trades. It was more like peak crossfire trades that the timing just, again, didn't pay off for GENG. NRG continues to look pretty good, but this time, as we talked about somebody that usually pops off, Android had a couple of kills, but it only sits down at 3. It's really Som, another one of those activators, switching over from the Raze before, and relieving us. Oh my god, what a pick there from Quinn. Just take it, just take it.
Som, I mean, he goes for like the strafe peek with the shoulder, but Quinn is quick enough to find that kill. That's a big pressure relief valve on C, and it also, I guess, to a degree, justifies the Phoenix playing so deep up there. So now GENG are entrenched somewhat in enemy territory. Gimon going to be able to get away here.
Yeah, he's
a little bit rattled.
Does a little bit of damage. Gimon's down to low HP. He has to surrender his position. EU was still in a spot. Like, is he hiding in that corner or not? Was it a fake shrouded step? But the Owl Drone also only spots EU. So they know this action's happening somewhere else. But look at this big lurk. We actually do have Android, as we were just talking about him before. He's all the way towards Garage. They could backstab towards the seaside. There you go.
Yeah. Sean, caught completely unaware there, and this opens up the seaside for NRG. Most of GENG on the complete other side of the map. It's going to be Gimon from the shadows to get himself in a C-long, but that itself is pretty telegraphed. You can see already Daps is pushing up saying, okay, well, I'm going to take Cubby. You can stand somewhere else for now. Daps is down though, so that opens up Cubby as well. C-long gets a little bit easier now for Gimon. Oh, man. That's brutal. Shanks, okay, it's going to be able to deal with Kusta there. It's traded out, but now it's just EU in the post plan. 1v3. Has to pick one direction and just go there, I think, at that point. But GENG are able to unravel NRG despite being way out of position and not expecting NRG's deep 4. I think it was Android that got, through Garage.
Yeah, it was very well done here for GENG on that retake. Even that ult from Gimon that made it in towards Long C, I don't think it was necessarily heard once NRG were full committed into that site. So the backstab was really good from the lurk play from Android. They just didn't have that much better positioning on that retake just because of all the angles that were cut back towards that Long C. So when GENG rotates back, if say they go towards spawn and there's nobody there and they're coming from Garage, there's nobody there, they know exactly that the 3 players on the post plant are hiding inside the C site.
I suppose Som had no reason to think he'd be in such danger peeking the corner the way he did, but Quinn is lightning fast. And again, it's to C-long with much of NRG here. Dark cover at least allows them to assemble themselves along C-long a little bit more, and we'll see a faster hit momentarily.
Well, right now, thankfully, it's just a couple of spray, but it is in a running back to try to open it up. So finally decide to do that for NRG.
Okay, the shorty at that range for Shanks is just not going to pay off. Run it back. It's stifled. Som's found his second on the site. And Gimon's in a bit of an awkward position. Android just able to sneak a peek out.
I have the spike.
No spike plant quite yet. But GENG only really have 2 players to work with here, and Quinn's probably not really incentivized to think about the knives at all at this stage. He's got suitable weaponry, albeit pretty bad for a retaker from this position. He spots the Owl Drone and has to remove it with a shot.
1 enemy remaining.
Yeah, now you have an operator. I mean, even your teammate just died. I was going to say, even on a 4 versus 2, you're playing a rifle with a recon dart and an operator. Bladestorm is not in a position where you should use it right now on this attempt of a retake, so just make it expensive.
Yeah, Quinn's trying to do just that. Eventually His little riot will get brought to an end, and as we begin to approach the end of the first half,
Last round
GENG
in the
with
half.
4 rounds really would have liked to take one more away, and they've got some capital stored up to get decent weaponry, but it's going to be a bucky for win. So, you know, this can only go one way.
Yeah, thankfully it's not a judge though, so he could definitely go Blade Storm for the long range battles, and then using the bucket to fall back and play mid range right after on off angles too. So that's why he's hanging out towards this B side. He's done it before; it's worked out for him. And even with that, this trapwire, if he doesn't see any type of oppression towards his B side, he knows that it could be towards Garage, where it could still be a very useful weapon.
What's the best way to use his Hunter's Fury here for NRG?
For NRG at this point, from the position where he's at, you're going to have to play all the way back towards spawn. So if they actually aggress for energy into the site, you fall back, let them take the site, use the recon dart for retakes, and then use the ult there. Now, as they actually surrender it from a stack, he could actually use it for a denial of plant from where he's positioned.
Plenty of time for GENG here to reassemble some resistance towards the B side of the map. A couple of taps through from mid window. Definitely going to sell that just a little bit more to Kusta and co. There are going to be 2 players ready at B.
They're perfect at reading this. Like, Gimo's already all the way down towards long C. So if they actually do try to go towards B, the Hunter's Fury is going to be good to get them off. That allows a Blade Storm to come out from GENG Quinn to get the backstab through all the chaos.
From the shadows here, I think this just gets an advanced position on the site. Yeah, I don't think Som gets anything done with that really, and there's the trade. Android's going to fall down. Kusta's going to maintain this angle for the time being, but even though he's revealed, he's still able to find a kill on that Blade Storm for Hwin. Even though he had nothing but a bucky in this round, it pays off. Spike is still down, but this is a sorely undermanned NRG squad, and it's just Daps now. Cyber cages himself, throws a couple shots in, maybe we'll just take the plunge. Jumping into the fog to try and save his team in this round. It's not going to be enough, and GENG, they get what they came for. 5 rounds on the defense, sure to make the second half here on Haven quite competitive. And remember, last chance saloon for NRG. They're trying to stay alive. GENG wants Masters. That last spot looms, and we'll see who takes it after the break. Likely to no one's surprise at all, neither NRG or GENG even willing to give an inch here on Haven. Our second map of this best of 3. GENG, as mentioned before the break, Van Silly, they see Masters, it's dangling in front of them like a carrot, and they want to take a big bite.
I like for GENG too. They're looking to be very explosive on the attack with utilities and classics only with the shields. So I'm assuming a very aggressive B take and just right-click bunny hop all across the place.
Some serious contact. Definitely looms. Dark cover that came from the A side of the map from the defending team, NRG. EU does get spotted by that one here, so forced to back up a little bit. Look at this, Hwin. This is called scaling. I mean, this is what Jordan was talking about. Look at this. They take so much control, and in fact, they pull the wool over NRG's eyes. It's quite a complex execute that gets them onto C.
That recon dart that spots him, and a paranoia that came from Gimo into Garage. Now they take the A site, but it's a full man retake from NRG. This is going to be so hard to hold in the C site for Kusta.
Looks like Kusta grabbed the snake by the tail and got the fangs there. NRG all just burst forward to try and pick him off. Sean.
Oh my.
Trying to... Oh, okay, they chase down Som. That's pretty nasty. The right click's coming in. NRG with 4 players now, so the numbers are even. Gimon stuck in that corner. Nothing you could really do, but Hwin and Mikhail get to the site and they come to the rescue. Another one from Mikhail leaves Daps all alone. He's probably getting awfully familiar with this situation. Doesn't make it any more pleasant, though. He gets 2 headshots. He's got to do something about the spike, though, and Hwin was waiting for him. What an important pistol round win for GENG. And this is where their march to victory may begin.
Again, so beautiful how that was played there for GENG, because not only did the recon dart spot a player on that spot, the initial smoke that was on the top of B, they crept inside that spot, and they even heard, potentially, the trap wire that was set on the left side of B. So what do? Well, Hwin's going to be the one that's going to dash through, break that open, and they go for a double split from spawn side and also Garage just to make sure that C side is open. The only weakness in that plan was if somebody pushed down towards long C, but that definitely did not happen in this case for NRG.
Yeah, and I guess the execution in Kusta's case was just a little bit difficult, as he probably didn't expect to get pushed like that. Man. But GENG, look at this. This is that the lethal edge that we maybe didn't see so much from them in the past, but they've really adopted and made it their own. EU there gets one on Sean. He's trying to play from connector there, but GENG wrapped that one up awfully quickly at a minimal loss of weaponry.
What did I say? In my pregame, my notes that I wrote down, explosive attack, period, deal with it, period. find out a way to deal with that. And they tried to play close range for NRG, try to go for the off angle right click classic. But the way that they flushed it out with utilities, you saw it from Sean, the hot hands on the ground, forcing, I think that was Daps out of his position to be able to get that kill. That is very well done and good intuition for Gen G to just let him take Stewart's control by himself and the rest to go towards long and to just capitalize on the A site.
This aggressive play creates so much space rather for people like Gimon to either backstab or get into the site pretty comfortably. All right, hot hands on the ground. Android burning.
Oh my god.
Doesn't get away. Going to be Mikhail finding, but Gimon comes in through long. This is getting awfully messy now. Gore everywhere, but it's a 4v2 favoring Gen G, and already heaven is smoked. Here's the plant.
Spike planted.
Maps takes a leap at that one. Kusta removed by the headshot. Now Som has to step up here. He's the one with full health and armor right now. His compatriot a little bit worse for wear. Mikhail has a recon bolt here if he needs that kind of information. Dark cover to re-smoke heaven now. Options very limited for NRG. Again, it's the old-fashioned way. Som finds two. That's exactly what they were looking for. Gion! Oh my!
No way!
Som gets himself a third. Not a thing Gimon could do there. Fantastic stuff for NRG, and that is true grit in the face of what could have been a really rough round. They stay alive.
You said that it looked messy for Gen G, but that was still a very clean execution in the end. Like the paranoia that they threw from Guimont all the way down towards that cubby of A short didn't allow any support for Android that was stuck there at the bottom of the sewers. And they threw the hot hands on the ground. They had the shock darts to be able to kill him. You had a drive-by. Somebody came from long and put his gun right into his opponent's chest. And I think that was Shanks. That they usually use those two guys to duo up on that sewer side to be able to get that kill. But somehow the retake, it was still in Gen G's favor until Som just popped off. Sometimes it's just got to be one of those crack players that wins a round for you.
Again, Gen G though, I mean, you talked about that, this explosive approach. Once more, Som is forced to, against his will, part with the C side. Dark cover straight into the back, and NRG are going to have to get used to playing some retake here on a map that's very hard to stack a site with any sort of confidence. Blaze wall means Android can't see too much and has no idea who's hiding behind that box. Shanks is probably about to get a rude awakening if he doesn't check that corner adequately. He does not.
Crouched into it.
There's a trade. Sean flashed briefly, but no one from NRG is looking below the window, and that's an easy pickup for him. There's more to be had. If Sean wants to linger, he's got some backup, and it's going to be some trading here for Gen G, but they're in the post plant. They're happy to get their hands dirty. This could throw a spanner in the works, though.
Yeah, now all three of them are going to be spotted inside the site, but the dark cover is still going to slow things down. So now they spotted them, but all that information's gone. It cannot be capitalized because of that smoke. That was very well played there for Gen G in the end.
The smoke, I mean, even with the smoke there, of course, that information worked, but Gen G just tucked in around the corner so they didn't give away any free kills. Daps, yeah, will get a consolation, but that's all. And Gen G stick another one on the board there. This pace, NRG, it's clearly taken them a little while to get used to how fast the Gen G want to move, and now they don't really have the weaponry to stave them off as effectively.
Yeah. You see the Buckies. Okay, never mind. Som's going to go for the distance instead. Because he is playing towards long C. You need to try to scope them down. You can't really battle back with the Bucky if it's going to be as aggressive as you want it to be for Gen G for the past few rounds of their execution. So having a sheriff at that point in long C is definitely the better play. But you have the knives also from Shanks. So this is still a pretty doable gun round for NRG in the end on defense. Does he have ult from that? Yeah. So Android has the ult from picking up the orb too.
Both Phoenixes with run it back. Shanks is going to be the doorman here. One doesn't quite give him a tickle. And here come the Brigade straight up mid. Mikhail should, I mean, this is big. Spotting Shanks in this corner. May not have seen him, it's hard to say. Okay, curveball?
Oh.
No, but now Shanks is revealed. I guess that's worthwhile for Gen G. Skimon looking for here. A gunfight, because he's got one. EU is going to get rid of him there. It's quite an audacious move towards heaven. Backfires.
Didn't think that A site was going to be open, especially that they have Daps playing towards that garage. I'm pretty sure they saw the camera, so they're like, oh, maybe he's not having utility towards the A side. Nobody's going to play it there. It's a little bit more passive. And EU just did a great job to just wait until the full ult came through to be able to get that kill.
Decent amount of utility already used here for Gen G. EU has plenty, though. It was his side that wasn't really bothered too much in the early round.
Left.
There you heard it there. 30 seconds, Gen G with 4 players.
It's the first time you hear it. It's always been so aggressive for Gen G.
And I mean, if they had it their way, they wouldn't have heard it this round either, Van Silly.
Yeah.
This is the way the chips have fallen. EU shock dart in the corner. He knows exactly where this is being planted. That one definitely gave Quinn a tickle. The spike is down. Dark covered there. Sean definitely needs to produce in this position. The Aldrone forcing him out of position, and Android is there as well. Run it back wasn't even needed to be used. And he just plows into the face of Quinn. Now it's a 2v4. Kusa tries to stand his ground. Mikael picks from the side. There's still a chance here for Gen G, but time is ticking down. And Daps gets himself a 2-for-1. This is NRG digging their claws in. This is NRG starting to get a read on Gen G. Fantastic little retake, but it's never short of messy.
You saw that cage that came out from Kusa on the right side, trying to stay alive there with Mikael, and at the same time, miscommunication too, because as Mikael is spraying and trying to stay alive, he sees somebody on his screen, doesn't realize that it is his teammate, so that's a couple of bullets that are wasted on a Vandal that could be very good and very useful on the amount of players that are pushing up against him towards that spawn side, but I believe that our running back was perfect there for Android for the retake. Yes, they got the first kill onto Sean inside that corner, but to have players run behind him, for him to be the meat shield and still get another entry on top of that for the retake was definitely a key round and a key moment for NRG to be able to retake the lead in this matchup.
I mean, Sean was forced to swing that corner instead of hold it because he heard the Aldrone be deployed. He didn't really have any choice. That's how important that utility being maintained late into the round is.
Yep.
Crucial that EU wasn't forced to part with it early on. Quinn, okay, right? The lightning straight up the nose of EU. Sean outside the cyber case there, and the knives are flying. The silverware is well and truly out. Android is like, well, sheesh. All right, 1v4. Perhaps I'll sit back here and see what I can make of it, but there's very little to be done here for Android. And this should represent Gen G evening the score up again.
If I have to re-listen to this broadcast and analyze my casting and say, what word do I say so much? I just realized that it's oh my, but it's one of those moments where these players are just shining on individual plays. We've seen it so far from Gimo. Quinn just did on our previous round. Saw him on the retake with the 3K by himself. None of these players want to lose and not qualify for Masters. And that's why we have a 9-9 scoreline. It's going to go back and forth. I wouldn't be even surprised if this matchup is going to overtime, where NRG, they had that overtime matchup when they had to face off against 100 Thieves on this very map.
You see the Gen G, they're happy to play close here. You know, we see a lot of teams, if teams particularly favor bringing an operator on this map on the attacking side, they tend to give B a wide berth just because the angles are awkward. Quinn, he buys a rifle, he rebuys the rifle. He's more than happy to play this style, and that definitely tips you off to Gen G's plan. They don't really feel like they have the time to waste waiting for NRG to pick angles or to try and delve forward for information. They want to go fast, play ahead of the utility, and overwhelm.
This is a good counter, too. I know they're on an eco, but I think trying to take this mid-control a little bit more might help NRG into these gun rounds later on. But as they spot nothing here, Kusa is going to be able to go free reign against them with the distance after the action has calmed down.
Quite stunning from Kusa there as well. He has just such a small gap in that dark cover to find the kill. And Gen G, I mean, they know what they're going up against. They know the money situation for NRG. So they're so pleased to be able to get so deep onto C and get this plant without sort of losing anyone. And now what do NRG do with these weapons that are ill-suited to this kind of retake circumstance? Maybe try and overwhelm one direction? How do they sort of pincer a sight with this weaponry?
You can't really. I think at this point you see that they're pretty much set up for hurting the economy, going for exits. You see that they're all towards window and still spawn and just holding back behind these boxes. So you're just trying to make things expensive.
So I'm trying to bamboozle Kusta as much as possible there. I think I see some with the camera, so that pretty much is it. That was NRG's real chance to get the drop on anyone from Gen G. Even Daps can't finish the job on Sean, which is acceptable given the kind of arsenal that he's toting. And quite the cleanup here for Gen G. They get the plant, they get the detonation, and they'll likely have Android for their troubles here. And they do.
So taking a lead 10-9 now for Gen G. This continues to be back and forth. It doesn't look like it's back and forth here when you're looking at the scoreline of the second half, but now that it's finally tied, you're trying to break this streak by 2 every single time. So for Gen G, if they could get a third one right now, I think this is where the morale would kind of break, and break even more, because NRG, if they lose this one here, it's only 2,900 in total that they're getting. So it's going to be a small buy for a couple of them, or a half buy, and you have to play for the overtime. So a crucial round for NRG.
Look at this. It's not a read. It might just be some sort of cosmic coincidence. GENG looking straight at C. And NRG don't really have the people in position. Dark cover ends up behind them. So this is a good example of GENG playing ahead of that kind of utility. So now it's very dangerous for anyone from NRG to peek onto the site. They don't have the information. They have no idea to what degree that dark cover has impacted GENG at all.
Yeah. And EU, I think, should have fallen back a little bit more there because the camera's already set up here from Kusta at A side.
Do you need to go for this? Do you need to go for these sort of peaks right now if you're GENG?
No. You're just trying to figure out where the positioning could be. I mean, you're trying to get map control on the post plant too, right? So now you're going to keep him guessing. It's planted. You're not really chasing towards spawn. You just make them think that you're at logs.
Sean's actually might be trying to push through garage here. Huyn gets himself two. Android, it might be a little bit too late in the day for him to make a resurgence, but he's found his second kill. 1v3. Post plant. Run it back available. 2 players in C long, and unbeknownst to him, Sean is on the backstab. Android's going to need to reload at some point, and the drone, the recon bolt reveals him, and there it is. Such an important round. It falls by the wayside, and GENG, they're so close to Masters, they can smell it.
You just wish that those 3 shots that Android shot would have broken that owl drone, and he knew somebody was flanking at some point. He was just trying to find that timing. But great on GENG to play that so slow and play off the owl drone to be able to capitalize on that last kill. And as I was trying to mention, Kusta placed his utility towards the A side. I think as EU goes for a recon dart or something towards the choke point, if they didn't see anything, he should have maybe fallen back to maybe help his teammate towards the C side because they have nothing else for utility on the C side for retake or for information, right? So I think this could have helped a little bit more. It was so pressing for NRG for that retake that EU didn't have time to come back to use his recon to be able to help NRG to retake.
Basically, Huyn has an operator in this round. So what's different as opposed to the last few where he was willingly buying rifles?
I mean, I think right now is Huyn continues to ooze that confidence, right? And when they see that this utility is not being used towards the C side or A side anymore, or how free it is for them to try to take towards the C side, that could be an opportunity for him to just lock down one area of the map, prevent any type of pushes from NRG on flanks, and let Sean one orb away from an ult over here to try to just capitalize on an entry after.
So it doesn't necessarily mean they're playing slower.
No.
But perhaps looking for something earlier in the round. They got it. Som again serves himself up on a silver platter, and Huyn, he downs him with gusto.
And you're body peeking, right? You're not really going for a smoke or anything, and now this is a perfect time to grab the ult. Or go for the ult into the site. Now they clear the full thing. He could even push all the way towards spawn. So this is so hard for NRG to try to retake. And as they went for this force buy, they don't have that money to work with. So they might even save at this point.
The backstab's off the table, likely, because the tripwire was in position. Kusta is waiting. Garage, though, that's an option for NRG. NRG don't have any position there. And okay, we're going to hear run it back now from Android. It's his time to shine again. Curveball number 2. That one works. Okay. Sean had a crossfire already there with Huyn, but here comes the push from C Long. Dabs is able to get rid of Kusta now. From the shadows. Where does it go? Huyn's there. Another one with the operator. Mikhail's just going to bunker down inside Cubby. 2v2. Android goes for the defuse. EU gets rid of Mikhail. There needs to be a peek.
Oh my god!
It's not going to happen. NRG have done it. Kimon is out of position. He uses from the shadows and is not in a spot to interrupt the defuse. NRG stay alive.
That was the idea, though. He was in a perfect spot for it. Because he's ulting down towards spawn. Nobody's going to focus back onto the garage on a reflank or whatnot because that clock is ticking down. So he has all the time in the world to try to aim down and try to get that kill onto the person defusing towards that double box. The first spray didn't work because the back was turned against the wall, so the model was actually not hitting where the bullets were. But you saw him tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It was out of like 40 HP, and he unfortunately ran out of bullets. 2 more, then GENG would have had map point.
Such a tight margin there, and Huyn definitely feeling the frustration, but he's punished for it. Trying to push out of garage there, he's going to get caught by Som. Daps also, I mean, somehow spotted out by Sean. And GENG, I mean, you cannot keep these guys down. They lose such a close round like that, you'd think they'd be in their own heads, but no, it's the same brand of aggression. Off the rip. Now 4v3 with info. EU's trying to push in before that one gets put across. Kusta's going to get rid of Shanks here. It's another 1v1. Android has to make it happen once more. Gives it a tickle. Half defuse. Gets off of it now. The blaze wall's in the way, but Mikhail shuts him down. And there it is. Map point comes up from GENG by the slimmest of margins.
Match
It
point.
may all end here.
Like Jaws moving into his spray, you saw that gap in that blaze wall that came out from Android, that it was, oh my god, he's going to come any moment right now. And Android, he had a 50-50 chance. He thought that his opponent was going to come in towards that back of the spot, or back of default rather. Looked first, didn't work out. Predicted that he was going to come then towards that gap, towards the blaze wall, but unfortunately, because he didn't have any curveballs left, he couldn't actually try to go for this wide swing peek out right after on a 1-versus-1. Just very tough for Android, unfortunately. Always put in a situation where he has to try to clutch.
Again.
Oh no.
Looks like Som maybe body peeked that same corner again, and Huynh delivers the punishment.
Yeah. Before it was
Android.
default, now front C. They're okay. Well, good trade back.
A lot of space now controlled, at least from Android, pushing up that far and actually finding that kill.
Retrieve the spike.
NRG know this buys them a ton of time. They also know the approximate location of the spike here. This cubby position from Daps, pretty pivotal in the next moments. And feel the tension. I could cut the air with a knife right now as NRG know that one mistake cost them their chance at Masters. Win. A little unsure where the next foray from the plucky NRG squad would come from. And so far, nothing. The suspense definitely building. GENG realize that they're under 40 seconds remaining in the round. They need to make a move, but do they do their due diligence? Do they check cubby? That's a yes. Daps is down.
Oh, that's going to start things off very badly because they
30
had that
seconds
stack
left.
towards the A side. You wanted that camera to spot them first. He sees them, goes for the angle, but they check it, and now it's just hard for NRG to try to hold back.
Android, he needed a multi-kill, but he gets nothing instead. At least he gets a second bite at the apple now. Hot hand thrown back in the corner. Sean receives EU and Shanks is in on the site. He's down. It's a 3v1 now. It's all on Android once more. The new acquisition can't get it done. And there it is. GENG book the final ticket to Masters. They change up their team. They get so aggressive. All of their protocols seem to turn on